Celtics?
There is a huge part of me, Shay, that wants to see Jayson Tatum come back. But I don't believe he should come back this season, and I think here's why. Number one, being dropped into this part of the season or later changes the chemistry and dynamic of how your team plays. There are a lot of players right now, and I know a lot of fans would think it can be additive, right, because it's Jayson Tatum. But also, like, not having the fluidity of touching the rock, the continuity of that, the continuity of fitting inside that system this season in particular, I think that would be very disruptive to the way the Boston Celtics played. And also what happens with that is when you drop somebody of his magnitude inside of a team, if that's March or late April, people start deferring. The pressure ramps up. Jayson Tatum starts to expect to try to do things that we haven't seen him do this year, also react in that mindset. So I don't know if I like the position it puts him in. And lastly, what I will say is that, and look, if he gets cleared, he gets cleared. But guys, these Achilles injuries, they aren't anything to play around with. Ain't nothing to play around with. Like, we've seen how many of them happened last year. We see the wear and tear. We see the pace of this game, which is exceptionally different than before. And just inserting yourself back into that at the most intensified time of the year, where scattering reports get pinpointed, I just don't like the situation it puts him in, rather than have him ease into next season, take his time this offseason, crystallize how he feels, and let that be the ramp where he bolts into next year. That's just how I feel about it. I don't know how you feel about it.
Well, let me be a bit facetious before I get a bit serious by reminding everybody that when Jayson Tatum showed up in the studio earlier this season on First Take, I implored him to stay home. I implored him. I said, hey, man, you don't need to risk anything. Stay home. Don't play. You know, the New York Knicks' path to prosperity. I mean, don't get in the way of that. Stay home, relax, rest for the rest of the season. We'll see you next year. Don't worry about it. You know what I'm saying? He was laughing about that because I was trying to convince him to stay home, right? But in all seriousness, Damian Lillard ain't thinking about coming back this year. Tyrese Halliburton ain't thinking about coming back this year, but there's reasons for that, Jay. And the reasons for that is their team ain't contending for a championship. And I think if we saw the Boston Celtics plummet the way Indiana has in the absence of a Tyrese Halliburton, even though Miles Turner is gone, Mathurin is gone, that kind of stuff. The fact is that you look at the Boston Celtics and the way that Jaylen Brown has been playing, and you're still fantasizing about capturing another NBA championship. And I don't say fantasizing like it's a pipe dream. I'm just talking about legitimate dreams. Because with Jaylen Brown being what we see him being what we've seen him be this season, my God, what could Boston do? You can't rule out anything. And I think that's what this is all about. Me personally, I would be inclined to hold off in all seriousness because it is an Achilles as opposed to an ACL or something else. An Achilles is not something to play with. And to rush back and come back early, you could potentially derail your future with that, because this is an Achilles tear that we're talking about here. But I think Boston knows that better than anybody. Tatum knows that better than anybody. Brown knows that better than anybody. And it's twofold. On one hand, you don't want to see him jeopardize his future, even though you understand why he's doing it, why he would be doing it, because they got a chance to capture a championship. But the other thing is, the same Jaylen Brown that we put on a hot seat in the regular season that has answered the call in MVP caliber fashion, I want to see if that brother, as the number one option, shows up in the postseason too. It would be interesting to see what Jaylen Brown does when he doesn't have a Jayson Tatum to defer to, when everyone is deferring to him, and it's in a best-of-7 series. I'd like to see Jaylen Brown under those conditions because I think he'd respond in a big way and put everybody on notice. You should have had me on the Olympic team, and you should have always considered me a number one option, even if it's 1 and 1A with Jayson Tatum, because I'm that dude.
Shay, I think that this question that's down here, this is only for one person. That's for Jayson Tatum. And he's going to be the one that gets to decide whether he's ready or not. And I think the Celtics have put it in position where they apply no pressure to him, nor have they ever indicated speculation. And they have gone overboard in protecting where he's at in his recovery because they don't want people to get amped up. And they have given him that space. And he has something on his side in all this downside of coming back from this injury. What he's got on his side is he's already proven he's a champion. He's not trying to get back to show people anything. He's answered all of the questions. But where I think it is fascinating is exactly what you just said, Stephen A., is the difference that he can make in this race. Because I could sit here and explain to you, oh, this is why I think Detroit could win. But I could easily explain to you this is why they can't. Say the same thing about Cleveland. Say the same thing about the Knicks. Knicks take 2 steps forward, 1 step back every freaking week. I have no idea what they're going to look like. But and when you look at Boston, as impressive of a season as they're having, let's just be fair and honest. From a talent standpoint, top 8 versus top 8, they don't match up with the other 3 top teams in the East. Now, they would fight on that, and they would say, well, we're going to beat them in 7, and they may end up being able to do that. But from a straight talent standpoint, the Celtics' influx of getting Jayson Tatum, even if he's not 100%, would be game-changing. And, of course, he knows that. And so that's why this is such a fascinating situation. Not just because it's the Boston Celtics and they're chasing a championship, but it's the Boston Celtics where if they got Jayson Tatum back, it would potentially change the balance of power in the whole league. And so everybody understands that, but the Celtics know that this is a guy they want to have doing this for years to come.
Right. So if Jayson Tatum comes back, the Celtics could potentially win a championship. If he doesn't come back, I don't think anyone would slot the Celtics as a team that could win the championship. So you know better than anyone.
He comes back and he's right.
Sure, he comes back and he's right, or 90%, or whatever. To Stephen A's point, when he came on this show, he said, I'm not working out two times a day to not come back this season. I'm doing what I can to get back and get in game shape. He, by all accounts, wants to come back.
Of course.
But you know better than anyone what it's like to come back from a serious injury. Not the same one, right? Not the same one. But your mentality has got to be there. You disagreed with Wendy. Why?
Well, because my thing is that, I know what Jayson Tatum wants to do. Like, Jayson Tatum is a competitor. Like, it's the whole reason why he's training so hard to come back. But I will say this, sometimes the organization needs to protect the player from himself. And Jayson Tatum is 27 years old. There's so much talk about what would this team be like if he came back, and he was absolutely right. For a guy that has not played basketball in 6 or 7 months and is just trying to train in 5-on-5 and practice, we're going to throw him into the playoffs. All I'm going to say is this. He's 27 years old. For as much as you want it to be right now, think about it being right next year when he's 28. Think about being right next year, the year after that, when he's 29, when he's 30, when he's 31. Make sure you think long-term with Jayson Tatum instead of just thinking about we need to get it right here and right now. That's all I'm saying.
Jay's 1,000% right in this regard. Here's how you send that message to Jayson Tatum. You're 27 years old. Jaylen Brown is 28. And you've been to 5 conference finals. He's been to 6. You've been to 2 NBA finals. He's been to 2 NBA finals. You both have won a championship together already. And you got plenty of time to figure out how to do it again. You ain't in your 30s. You in your 20s. You got ample amount of time over the course of your career as a dynamic duo to pull this off. We want to make sure everything is in place and nothing potentially disrupts that for the long term. That's how you sell that to Jayson Tatum. You talk about what you've done repeatedly over the years. Think about the age 27.
Ridiculous, man.
And you've been to 5 conference finals and 2 NBA finals and a champion. Age 28, you Jaylen Brown. You've been to 6 conference finals and 2 NBA finals.
Yeah, we follow Tatum more because he's a champion, superstar, Olympian, all this stuff. The Achilles tears are different. There's a difference between Murray and Tatum and all that stuff. But here's another guy who needed 13 months. Mm-hmm. So just keep that in mind, that if he doesn't come back, it's not like a mark against him.
And he needed 13 months. Jayson Tatum hasn't even been at 10 months yet. Lillard and Halliburton are out. And when KD suffered it, how long was KD out? It was a year and a half.
A year and a half.
Before he came back. Before he came back. So I'm just saying, the point is that all of that is evidence to say, pump the brakes.
Yeah.
You don't need to come back this season. You don't need to do that.
Not all players are.
All of that is reason.
I agree with you.
That's all. Let's move on. Let's go to a quick take here.